Ross Dress for Less is a chain of discount department stores that opened in 1950. Thank you for your suggestions.
I just decorated my dorm room with all this great stuff. I could have gone to a department store and spent over $1,000, but I went to Ross and spent less than half.
It's a brand new day at Ross, and you'll find everything you need to give your dorm room or bedroom a whole new look. Plus at Ross, you'll save a bundle compared to department stores.
I love saving money. After all, I am a math major.
Ross, it's a brand new day. Grand opening Flowery Branch. Don't miss it.
Morris Maury Ross opened the first Ross department store in 1950. Mr. Ross was a quartermaster during World War II. After the war, he built a bean processing plant in the Mission District. In 1950, with borrowed capital from his family, he opened his first retail store, the Ross department store on San Mateo Avenue in San Bruno. Believe it or not, said his son Stuart Ross, when he opened that store, the inventory he purchased included spats. He built an operation that was so profitable that Dun & Bradstreet was incredulous. They couldn't believe the bottom line based on the size of the store and the population in the neighborhood. But his secret, his son explained, was total control. He worked 85 hours a week and did all of his own buying and bookkeeping. When he finally sold the business, his successor had to hire 4 people to do the job Dad was doing. In 1958, Mr. Ross sold his store to William Isaacson to become a residential and commercial real estate developer. Over the years, he expanded it into a junior department store concept with 6 locations throughout the Bay Area, located in San Bruno, Pacifica, Novato, Vacaville, Redwood City, and Castro Valley. But the definitive year in the company's history occurred nearly 30 years after its birth. In 1982, the year that separated the 2 distinct eras in Ross's history, 2 men with a wealth of experience in the off-price retail industry purchased the Ross enterprise. With these 6 stores, acquired with the help of venture capital partners, the 2 entrepreneurs, Stuart Moldal and Donald Roulette, made no mistake about their intentions. Together, these 2 retail veterans had visions of creating a powerful off-price retail chain in an area of the country where the off-price concept was virtually non-existent. Elsewhere, particularly along the East Coast and in the Midwest, off-price retail stores were enjoying growing popularity during the early 1980s, but in California, they were conspicuous by their absence, at least as Moldal and Roulette saw it. Considering the pace at which Moldal and Roulette expanded the Ross chain shortly after acquiring it, the 2 were intent on pioneering the concept in California and saturating markets before rival off-price chains recognized the opportunities that existed in the state. The 2 shifted the chain's focus away from its junior orientation to create an off-price format, stocking branded apparel for men, women, and children, as well as domestics, merchandise, shoes, and accessories at sharply reduced prices. Moldal and Roulette made their second decisive move by quickly adding to their store count. 2 Ross Dress for Less stores were opened in the fall of 1982, and 18 stores the following year, more than tripling the size of Ross in little more than a year. Much of the physical growth recorded during the first full year of Moldal's and Roulette's leadership was accomplished by acquiring existing stores in strip malls and freestanding locations abandoned by other retailers. By the end of 1983, Ross Dress for Less stores were situated in Southern California, and the first store beyond the state's borders, a store in Reno, Nevada, was opened, touching off a march across the map that in a few short years would extend the company's presence from coast to coast. Early in 1984, plans called for the establishment of 20 stores in California, Arizona, Washington, and Oregon, But by the end of the year, Ross had opened twice as many, including stores in Utah, Texas, and Oklahoma. Much of the growth during that year was realized from the acquisition of 15 stores from the handyman division of Edison Brothers Stores, which added Ross Dress for Less stores in Texas and Oklahoma. The company's expansion would be plotted into the 1990s as the number of stores, each stocking a list of brand and designer names that rivaled most department stores and specialty stores, increased exponentially. Though its merchandise compared favorably with the selection offered by department stores and specialty stores, Ross charged substantially less than traditional retailers, selling its merchandise for as much as 60% below competitors' prices. The enormous savings to be realized lured customers through Ross's stores, convincing management in turn that the only obstacle checking the company's financial growth was the number of stores it operated. In 1985, the company made an initial public offering of stock to help fund the opening of additional stores. There were 107 Ross Dress for Less stores, an impressive total given the company's total store count of 6 3 years earlier. Ross entered the new markets in Colorado, Florida, Georgia, New Mexico, and Oregon in 1985. By 1986, there were 121 Ross Dress for Less stores scattered throughout 16 states. The following year, the company suffered a setback when they decided to close 25 underperforming stores in Texas and Oklahoma. Rowlett, one of the principal architects, would leave the company. Ross executives focused their expansion in 3 principal markets: the West Coast, the Washington area, and Florida. At that point, company officials eliminated the domestics departments in Ross stores and added cosmetics and fragrance departments. Additionally, executives added high-end clothing to Ross's merchandising mix, upgrading their inventory with items such as men's sport coats and women's silk dresses. As the early 1990s progressed, the chain went a long way towards achieving their ambitious goal. In 1990, 29 new stores were opened, giving the company a total of 185 stores in 18 states by the end of the year, and opening up new markets in Philadelphia and in Boise, Idaho. The company began test marketing a home accents department, which featured picture frames, china, ceramic ware, and crystal. The concept was introduced in 20 stores early in 1992 and quickly registered sufficient success to warrant its incorporation into other existing Ross Dress for Less stores. With 223 stores by the end of 1992, the company planned to put home accent departments in nearly all of its existing locations. By the end of 1995, there were 292 stores. Ross was collecting nearly $1.5 billion a year in sales, having experienced considerable financial growth during the previous decade. Store openings increased to 26 in 1998 and 29 in 1999, bringing the store count to 378 stores by the end of 1999. In the year 2000, 31 more Ross Dress for Less stores opened, boosting the number of units to 409. That year, the company announced plans to accelerate its pace of expansion. In 2004, Ross Dress for Less opened up a subsidiary store chain called Didi's Discount. By the year 2012, Ross reached $9.7 billion for the fiscal year with 1,091 stores in 33 states, with an additional 108 Didi's discounts in 8 states. On June 1, 2014, the position of CEO was taken over by Barbara Rentler, who was the 25th female CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Today, there are over 90,000 employees with over 1,722 Ross Dress for Less and 339 Didi Discount locations. Thank you for watching. If you like this content, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Thanks.